All right. Now, once again, I mentioned at the beginning summer plans. So there are lots of things you can do to relax, of course, in a safe way. I think that's the important thing we want to share here in our final class. It seems like that several states are having problems with the coronavirus. So again, places like Texas or Florida, Arizona, some of these places which are very popular for summer visits seem to be having some problems right now. So again, everybody, make sure you're going to a safe place and make sure you're doing everything that we need to do to be safe. But I found this list on the internet. So in case you're looking for something to do, this says 100 things to do during the summer of COVID. So I thought I'd
Ah,
put this up on the screen.
100.
Now, you don't have to do everything, right? And of course, many of these activities are involving kids. So if you don't have kids, I understand. But for example, I wanted to share a few things on the list. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit and show you a couple of things that maybe you can think about here. So for example, if you like playing games, obviously you can have a game night or watch movies with the family. I like this one though. You can have a family dance party. So maybe have you guys tried any Zoom parties or FaceTime parties? Have you had to say like happy birthday to people on Zoom or FaceTime? No, no one's done a FaceTime party. I know for some of my friends, we would get together on Zoom and watch like a TV show, and we would talk about the show while we're watching it. So maybe you can have a dance party, right? So I like that one. You can have a dance party. Again, lots of activities for kids. So of course, playing outside is, I think, always important. But again, we got to be careful, right? Kids, we want to be careful. Now, I like this one here. They mentioned growing food. I don't know if any of you have a chance to have a garden, but has anybody tried growing any food, planting any food? Some people are calling them COVID gardens. Anybody have a COVID garden? No one's growing anything? We're trying to grow tomatoes on our front porch. Now, we've tried tomatoes before, and usually we do a terrible job, but maybe they're going to work. Okay, Anna, are you guys growing any food?
No.
Ah,
No.
Not trying anything?
I sometimes grow tomato, maybe cucumbers, and
Okay.
Zucchini.
So, Sergey, do you have a garden right now? Are you growing something right now?
No,
okay.
Small area.
I see.
Near the house.
Okay.
Couple plants.
Well, here's another one I thought that was kind of interesting. It's actually the next one there about the birds. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I have really noticed the birds this year. And I think it's because I don't hear the traffic on Dixie Highway. I live right next to Dixie Highway. So, every morning it was so busy, lots of cars, you couldn't hear anything. But now I hear all these birds everywhere. So I like this one. If you want to make a bird house or a bird box, something like this for birds, I thought that was kind of funny. So maybe that's something you could do. Rena mentioned hiking. So yeah, guys, a lot of the parks in Cincinnati and Ohio are open. So if you like hiking, lots of great places there. More and more places are opening again for picnics, but of course you have to follow the rules in those places. Okay, so I thought that was kind of fun to think about that. Cooking. So everyone here's mentioned doing a lot of cooking. So maybe you're tired of the cooking. I don't know. Actually, I'm trying to make lots of different pizzas. So my wife and I have been trying to make, like the crust. We've been trying all kinds of different recipes. So guys, maybe when I'm finished here, maybe I'll open a pizza restaurant. So I don't know if it'll be a good pizza restaurant, but I'll try it. Now, I like this last one here. They mentioned learning something new. So I know some of you have been playing instruments, for example. So I know Rena, we're waiting for that YouTube video. Okay, so maybe in the summertime, Rena, you can record your YouTube video so we can see you playing the guitar, right? Okay, good. Of course, learning other languages. You guys are learning English, of course, but I want to take a moment and share this one with everybody. Maybe this is one that you'd be interested in. And actually, my wife, the reason I want to mention this one, and I can share this one if you like in our email. My wife took this class. It's called the Happiness Course, and it's actually from the University of Yale. So some of you might know Yale is a very you know, respected university here in the United States. And my wife took the course, and the course itself is free. You can pay a little bit of money, and actually you can kind of finish it and actually get a credit like at a university. But in this case, this is something you could do for free. And my wife really recommended it. She really enjoyed it. I'll close it here. So, but it's something that you could do, and she said it really helped her figure out about happiness. So I thought this would be a very interesting thing if anyone is interested. So I can share this information in our email. But anyway, it's a course on happiness, and my wife really enjoyed it. So maybe this is something you would like to try, and it's a good way to practice your English too. So, and don't worry, you don't have to talk or anything, but it's basically following the lessons. You watch lessons. And then you follow the recommendations and you do things. So for example, you do yoga or you do some other happiness type activities. So again, if you're interested, I thought this was one that was especially interesting, and my wife really enjoyed it. So if you guys are looking for something to do for the few weeks, if you just need more English, Mr. John, we need more English, I can certainly put this in our email if you'd like to learn. And again, there are lots of things here on this list. I don't want to go through all 100, but I wanted to point out a few of them just in case you're interested. The last section here is talking about how to do things for other people. So I think some of you have already done some of these things, right? Contact a relative, maybe send a get well card to someone, or maybe you miss somebody. So those are kind of, I think, good ideas anyway, not just thinking about that. Walk a dog. Hey, you guys can be with dog walkers. That'd be kind of interesting. Well, anyway, I'll be happy to share some of these links in our email, just in case you're looking for some things to do. And like I said before, these are some activities. Of course, if you have kids, you can do lots of these, but these might be also things you would like to do too. So anyway, I wanted to share those. So yeah, and maybe you can try all 100, right? Anybody want to try all 100? No? Okay. All right. Well, let's start off with a little review. Now, I realize that maybe not everybody has been here for the whole summer session. So this next activity, I'd like for us to use the chat box. Okay, so we're not using microphones. Let's use the chat box if we can. And here's how this first activity is going to work. It's called Fill in the Missing Words. So in the next few screens, I'm going to show all of the expressions we learned this summer. So again, we learned 6 expressions, except there are going to be some missing words. So I'm going to take out a word or two in each one. Now, the idea is in the chat box, let's see who can fill in the missing words the fastest. So that's the idea. When I put it on the chat box, let's see if you guys can type in missing words. And the idea, of course, is to see if we can remember these expressions. Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good to hear. All
Maybe.
right. Maybe. Sergey says maybe. Okay. All right. Well, here we go. Let's try the first one together. Okay. So here it comes. And again, we'll open the chat box. All right. Now, if we need help, what I'll do is give maybe the first letters. But here we go. Here's the first one. Don't blank over blank milk. Okay. Now, again, use the chat box. See if you can tell me. So what about the first word? If I know the first word, don't. What?
Don't drink, maybe.
Okay, Sergey, we're using the chat box. So try to use the chat box. Okay, here's the first word. I see it. Someone said don't cry. Okay, good. All right, then what about the second word? What kind of milk? All right. Oh, Mie. Mie's on top of it. All right. Yeah, so the expression is don't cry over spilled milk. Yeah, that's one of the first expressions we learned this session. All right, now I think we got the basic idea. Okay, so here comes the next expression. Get ready. Something flies when you're having something. Who can tell me the first word? All right, congratulations, Rena. Time flies. Okay, guys, who can tell me the second word? When you are having congratulations, Okina. And Sergey, I heard you say it too. So time flies when you're having fun, right? That's why our English classes always seem so short, because we're having so much fun, right? Of course. All right, here's the next one. Blank today, blank tomorrow. Use the chat box. Use the chat box. What can you tell me? What about the first word? Wow, fast. Here today. Okay, what about the second word? All right, Shiho, Mie, looks like you're right on top of it. Here today, gone tomorrow. All right, here today, gone tomorrow.
Expression of the day.
All right, here's the next one. This was one of our first ones. Easy blank it. Who could remember this one?
I don't remember.
All right, do I have to give a hint? Okay, here's the first letter. Oh no, Asami, she got it. Okay. Easy does it. Easy does it.
Does it.
All right. Okay, I think I've got two more. This was one word that we learned a couple of weeks ago. Blank stones.
7 stones.
No. All right, congratulations to Rena. Milestones. Milestones. That was one word, right? Milestones. All right, I think we have one more. This was the one we learned last week. To go on. This was one from last week. All right, Rena is on top of it. To go unplugged. To go unplugged. All right, so those were the 6 expressions that we learned throughout the session. Now, in this next activity, we're going to see if we can remember what they mean. So let's take a look at the instructions. Now, I'm going to do something a little bit different with this next activity. So in the next activity, we're going to use the poll feature. So remember, that's the little thing that's going to appear on your screen. And the idea is you're going to see the first line of a short conversation. What you have to do is to choose what would be the correct response to that information. Okay, now we're going to look at one example just to make sure we understand what we're doing. So here's the kind of example. Okay, so the first line of the conversation is this. Guess what? I just graduated from high school. Now that's a happy moment, right? An exciting moment. All right, so here are the sample responses. Now everybody take a look. Here are 3 possible responses. A, now easy does it. B, what an important milestone. C, now don't cry over spilled milk, just fix it. Okay, so guys, which one do you think is the correct response to this situation?
B.
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 Congratulations, it is B. Because as we learned 2 weeks ago, a milestone is referring to important events in our life. So for example, the important event would be graduating from high school. Now, who can remember what were some other examples of milestones we talked about in our life? Can people remember some other ones? You can use the mic if you like. What were some other milestones?
Get married.
Getting married.
Buy a house.
That could be a good one. Buying a house, or maybe okay, maybe moving into your first place to live by yourself. Yes. Yeah, that might be a good one. Yeah.
Get a job.
Getting a job, that's a good one. Any other milestones? What about for children? What would be a milestone for a child?
Have a child.
No, not having a child, for a child.
Oh,
Birthday?
Maybe the first birthday, but of course children don't remember the first birthday, right? Remember we mentioned maybe tying their shoes? First time they tie their shoes, that's a milestone, right? Or maybe whistling. You know, when children learn to whistle. I was talking to my dad this weekend, and I said to my dad, do you remember the first time I learned to whistle? And of course he didn't remember. And I said, well, my dad taught me how to whistle. And I remember it was like the most wonderful day, right? You're trying so hard, and then suddenly it's magic, right? Okay, well, those are some examples of milestones. Okay, now guys, so here we go. So in just a moment, I'm going to turn on the poll, and there are five little sentences. And remember, each one you have 3 choices for a response. So again, read the first line and then choose which one you think is the correct response. So guys, I'm going to turn on the poll feature now. So let's get started. And again, we'll see how much time it takes. We'll start with about 5 or 6 minutes, and then we'll see if we need more time. Okay, so get ready. I'm going to turn on the poll feature. All right, so guys, it should be on your screen now. I'm going to turn off my microphone and give you some time. Good luck. All right, looks like everybody has finished. And what we're going to do here is, just to make sure we can record this information on the screen, I'm going to go through each one and we'll look at the answers. But looking at the results here, it looks like we just about got a pretty good score, just about a perfect score. So let's go ahead and take a look at the answers, okay? All right, so let's start with the first one. So the first one says, I'm really exhausted with work. I need a break. Well, and again, the majority of the group did choose the correct answer. So out of 7 people, we had 6 people choose the correct answer, and that was letter C. So you should just unplug for a few days. So remember, to unplug means to get away from the computer, to get away from the internet, and just take a few days, maybe out in nature, you know, maybe reading a book, just to stay away from your smartphones, right? So last week we talked about unplugging, and some of you said, oh, I can't unplug. I need my phone and my internet. But I don't know, sometimes it's good to unplug. But that's the idea. When we get tired, maybe we need a break, we should just unplug for a little bit. Okay? All right. So everybody did a good job with the first one there. Okay. The second situation, again, 6 people guessed this one correctly. So it says, I can't believe he said that to me. How rude. In this case, 6 people chose the correct answer, and that is letter A. Hey, easy does it. Maybe he's having a bad day. So remember, easy does it means to be careful. Like, don't be cautious. Don't go too fast. Don't do something without thinking. Just take your time and be patient. Easy does it. So in this case, you know, sometimes we want something perfect and we want something now. We might say, hey, easy does it. Relax. Don't go so fast. So in this case here, the person is saying, don't get so angry, right? Easy does it. Relax. Be calm. So this expression had a couple of different meanings that we could use. So again, maybe you feel like this sometimes when you're kind of feeling angry or frustrated. Maybe you say, okay, easy does it. Just relax, calm down. All right, so far so good. Let's go to the next one. All right, for number 3, and actually I think, again, I think 6 people, yeah, so 6 people got this one correct, so again, very good. So it says, oh no, the product I wanted is not on sale today. Well, if we don't buy it now, maybe it disappears. So 6 of you guessed the answer correctly, and that was letter B. Well, you know what they say, here today, gone tomorrow. So remember, here today means take advantage of that opportunity now. Okay. All right. Sorry, I don't know what happened there, guys. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened there. Okay.
Number 3.
Yeah. So I think we finished number 3. Yeah. So, okay. So we said number 3 was letter B. All right. Number 4. Oh no, I broke my toothbrush. What am I going to do? Yeah, it's just a toothbrush, right? So in this case, everybody guessed this one correctly, and it was letter C. No use crying over spilled milk, just buy another one. So in this case, remember when we say crying over spilled milk, it means don't get so worried about a little thing. This is a little thing. Spilling milk, we can just clean it up, right? So in this case, when we say this, that just means just buy another one. Okay, and the last one, again, everybody got this one correct. So for number 5, it says, oh, I can't believe we are at the end of this session. Maybe you feel the same way. So in this case, the answer is letter B. Yep. Time flies when you're having fun. And actually, everyone got that one correct. Maybe you feel the same way. I know the whole coronavirus, the whole COVID situation, time has felt very strange. Time has felt very weird. But I will say that teaching during this time, teaching students online and teaching you guys especially, has been, again, a lot of fun. And of course, that means the time always goes fast when we enjoy what we do. All right, so congratulations, guys. You did a good job with that activity. Okay, now again, with the last part of our class, we're just going to take a couple of minutes and review what we covered here in the summer 2020 session. Okay, now before we begin, I do want to remind everybody that we will continue to use Burlington English into the fall session. So we are going to continue to have classes online. So what I will be doing in the next couple of days is sending everybody just some reminder information about your Burlington English account, how you can continue to use Burlington English even during the summertime before the August session. So I just want to remind everybody that we're going to keep using Burlington, and that way you can still practice with some English for the next few weeks. Okay, well, here's our first activity. So in terms of reviewing information, a few weeks ago we talked about those word ideas with ing or ed. So in this case, what we're going to do is just go through real quickly and choose which one we think might be the correct answer. So I'm going to ask for different students to read the sentence and tell us which one you would choose. So Shiho, what about number 1? Would you read it for us and then tell us which one is the answer?
Yes, this has been an amazing class.
Oh, thank you so much, Shiho. That's very nice of you to say. So, oh, you're reading the answer. Okay, I got you. All right. So you are correct. It is an amazing answer. All right, Sergey, would you like to try number 2?
I'm excited for a summer break.
Okay, me too.
GG.
All right, so excited is the answer. Daniela, you want to try number 3?
Yes. Don't look so worried. I will be okay.
Yeah, so in this case, worried is talking about how we feel. So don't be so worried. All right, let's see. Mie, would you like to try number 4?
What happened to the door? It looks burning.
Uh-oh.
Burned.
Yeah. Remember, if it's burning, that means it's burning right now. So one of the things we learned is that if something is burning, that is happening at the moment. It's a burning building.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, if you notice, Mie, do you see the ED here where it says what happened? Yeah. So in this case, this is the result of the action. It looks burned. So in this case, now we're looking at it after it happened. Okay. All right. So let's try the last one there. So, Okaina, you want to try number 5?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. You want to try number 5?
It is a disappointing decision.
Very good. Okay. All right, so far we did pretty well with the activity. So once again, let's just remember when we use the ing and when we use the ed. So once again, we use ing when we're describing things. So for example, amazing class, right? Disappointing decision. So one way that we use the ing is to describe things that make us feel a certain way. Now, of course, with the ed endings, we often use them to describe our feelings. So for example, the result of something. So in this case, excited is describing how I am feeling, right? Worried is describing the person you're talking to, which in this case would be you. Notice we don't see the word you in number 3, but that's what it means. Don't look. It's talking to you. Now remember, in this case, the word look is the same meaning as the word like am. Like if I say, for example, you look tired, I'm describing how your appearance is. So in this case, look is not an action. It's not saying look with your eyes. It means this is how you appear, right? Now, again, number 4, if we remember, we mentioned that another way to use the ing or ed is to describe the result or the active action of something. For example, if it's a burning building, so for example, if you watch the news and they say that that car is burning, or that's a burning car, like some sort of accident, then that means it's happening at the moment. We see it happening. But if we say that's a burned, that's a burned food or burned car, that would be the result of the action. So again, we use the ing and ed also to talk about if something has happened already or if it's happening at the moment. So again, this is another way to use that ing or ed meaning. Okay, so looks pretty good. All right, let's move on to our next activity. Now, our next activity, we spent a couple of classes rather, talking about word families. Now, what I would like to do in this case is I'm going to start with the things on the left. Now, over on the right side, we have lots of choices, and we're going to see if we can match those choices to the number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with number 1 and say, for example, group, and anybody, you can use a microphone if you like, which of these particular choices, for example, would be the root word? So look at your choices on the left side. Which ones would be a root word?
Family.
Okay, so there's one. So I'm going to put a number 1 next to that one.
Form.
Teach.
Okay, so there's form,
Teach.
and teach. So again, root words are the kind of the simple forms or words that we build off of. So again, for example, with the word teach, we could create teacher, for example. So those would be examples of root words. And we mentioned the word form, for example, is a very old word, and we can create many, many root words just from the word form. But form is also what we call a root. Okay, let's move on to number 2, prefix. So look over on the left side. Which ones would be a prefix?
Pre.
Okay, so I hear un,
Im.
pre.
Ray. Ear.
Im.
Okay, not er, no, not er, but definitely im, I-M. Yeah. Okay, so there we go. We have un and pre and im. Now, don't worry, in just a moment, we're going to try to use some of these, okay? So the last one for suffixes. Suffixes would be the endings of words. So again, which ones would be the endings? So help me out, guys. This one should be easy, right?
Sean.
Shun.
Yes.
Ness.
Yes.
Ear.
ER.
ER. And actually, ER is going to have a couple of different possibilities. And the last one?
ENG.
Ing.
ING, yeah, the ing form. Okay. Now,
ING.
for example, what I'd like to do, I'm going to highlight here in just a moment. Let's focus first on the prefixes, the suffixes. Again, since the suffixes are probably far more common than the prefixes, what I would like to do, guys, is let's open the chat box, okay? And what I would like to do, sorry, guys. What I would like to do is in the chat box, I'm going to put one of the suffixes. So, for example, I'm going to put TION, shun. Okay, now, guys, what I'll do is let's just see how many shun words we can put in the chat box. Okay, so I've got TION written there. So, guys, let's see if we can come up with at least 2, 3, maybe 4 examples of some shun words. Who can think of some examples? You can put them right in the chat box there. Okay, so information, good. Creation, that's a good one. Mention, communication, okay. Of course, okay, Anna, that's not fair, right? I mean, Spanish and English share this, right? So this one's easy. Attention,
Yes, it is.
Production, yeah, good, Daniela, good. Yeah, so again, these Latin-based ones are a little easier. Okay, that looks like a good list. Okay, here comes the next one. This one might be a little more difficult. Let's try ness. Which words use ness at the end? Okay, good. Happiness, kindness, goodness. That's a good one. My goodness. Yes, people say my goodness. What would be the opposite of happiness? Who can get that one for us? Okay, sadness. There you go.
Oh, madness.
Madness. Okay, so Sergey said madness. All right, I'll put that in there. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, craziness. We could even say craziness. If we could say madness, we could say craziness. Okay. All right, that's good. All right, now let's try ER. Now, first off, guys, ER has two different possibilities. So let's start with ER as a person. Which words could we create as a person? Okay, so we got teacher, driver. That's good. Okay, doctor. Doctor would be OR, but that's a similar ending, Mia. So, okay, lawyer. In case you mentioned lawyer, barber. That's a good one. Okay. All right. Now here's another meaning of ER. Do you remember back in the winter and the fall?
I'm taking class now.
We also mentioned ER when it comes to comparisons.
I'm almost done, okay?
Okay. So, for example, who can remember using the ER suffix for comparisons? Okay, there you go. Better. Okay, Shiho said easier. Okay. Yeah, don't forget the I there, Shiho. Okay. Taller, bigger. Good, good. Any others? Smaller. Okay, good, good. All right, and we're not gonna do the last one with the ing because we've already looked at some of those. Okay. All right, now let's do a couple from the prefix family. So in this case, I'm gonna choose a different color. So let's do a couple with the prefix. Okay. So again, I'm going to highlight which one the prefixes were, and I'm going to choose a couple of them. So for example, let's see, can anyone tell us using this prefix, the IM prefix? Who can tell us, who can give us maybe one or two examples? Okay. Important, maybe. Yeah, maybe import, though, would probably be the root word. So possibly, yeah, impression, that might be a good one. That's a good one. Impact, okay, possibly, yeah. There you go, impossible, good. Yeah, don't forget the two S's there, okay. All right, let's try one more. So let's try un. Okay, immortal, that's a good one. Unfortunately, uncertain, good, unusual, unfair, that's unfair. I like that. Okay. Unless. That's an interesting, yeah, I think unless possibly could be a prefix. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Possibly, Danielle. I don't know. Maybe that might be a compound, but we'll see. I'm not 100% unusual. Okay. All right. Looks like we got a good list there. Okay. All right. So in this case, we just wanted to kind of review some of the basic things we talked about. So once again, we mentioned three important ideas when it comes to making words in English. So again, we have root words, which are kind of the words we use to build words from. We have prefixes, which are those things we put before the root word. And then we also have suffixes, which are the endings of words. And those endings can tell us, for example, if it's a person, if it's an action, if it's an adverb, for example, how we do things. There are many different possible meanings, really, with a lot of these. Now, finally, in the chat box, who can tell me, this is a very big question, who can tell me where do most of these ideas come from? I mentioned earlier that many of these are not English ideas. So who can tell me what language they came from? So who could put it in the chat box for us? Anyone remember? Where do we get these ideas? All right, Rena, I think we're trying to say Latin with an I, right? So there you go. You got it though. Latin, yeah. And as we learned a few weeks ago, believe it or not, the English vocabulary really expanded.
French, German, and Latin. Yes.
Yeah, so we mentioned that most of the words in English actually were borrowed from languages like Latin. Now, Daniela, German language English is a Germanic language. It began as a Germanic language, but as we saw a few weeks ago, the English we speak today is very much influenced by Latin. Of course, French is part of it, but Latin really is where we borrowed many, many, many of the words that we have in our language. So in this case, our Spanish-speaking students, you have a kind of an advantage a little bit. But the truth is, yes, Latin makes up a huge part of our vocabulary because we mostly borrowed those words. And Sergey is correct. We did borrow quite a few of those words from French. So French also made a big influence on the English language. Okay, so guys, this summer you can study Latin and French, and you'll learn more stuff, right? Okay, guys, here's our final activity for this morning, and I thought we would use the microphones for this one. So for number one, let's have different people read for us here. So maybe Asami, would you like to read number one and tell us your answer, and then we'll get some other opinions from other students.
My favorite dessert is ice cream.
Okay, so you said ice cream. Now, I forgot. What flavor was your favorite?
Black raspberry chocolate
That's
chip.
right. You like. I remember you like that really big one there. Okay. All right, guys. What are some other favorite desserts? Come on, jump in, guys. Tell us what are some of our favorite desserts.
Any pastries.
Any pastry. Okay, Sergey, that's easy.
maybe
Lemon
maybe
pie.
cake. Maybe.
No, wait a minute, Sergey. You can't say everything. Daniela, what did you say?
Lemon pie.
Lemon pie. That sounds really good. That sounds very summery. I like that. You have that in the summertime.
Yeah.
Okay. Who else? Who else has a favorite dessert?
My favorite dessert is Krispy Kreme donuts.
Oh, which one? The plain, regular, or the chocolate, or
Regular.
regular? Okay. Well, Reina, you can send some to Sergey too. He'll eat them.
My favorite desserts is boiled concentrate milk.
That's pretty sweet. I mean, believe it or not, that
Yes.
concentrate milk, yeah, you can put that in lots of desserts. Yeah, for example, in some Spanish-speaking countries, we have a dessert called tres leches, which is like 3 different kinds of milk, and that sweetened condensed milk is one of the ingredients. And oh boy,
And
it's
that's
delicious.
amazing.
Yeah, so okay, Anna, you like that one too, huh?
Yes, that's one of my favorites.
Do you make a tres leches?
One time in my
You
life.
tried it, okay. Yeah, I like that one. All right, Mie, any favorite desserts there?
Fruit is okay.
Which one?
Fruit.
Oh, fruit.
Yeah.
Boring. Come on.
Now my favorite dessert is peach.
Well, actually, that's my wife's favorite dessert. Yeah, the summertime is when the peach is really popular. Yeah, my wife, there's a peach truck that comes through once or twice a year, and my wife bought this big container of peaches. So Mia, how many peaches do you eat every day?
Almost 6 peaches.
Yeah, that's like my wife. She loves them. She loves them. Unfortunately, I have an allergy to the citrus, like any citrus fruit, so I can't really eat them. And I'm not a huge peach fan. I like peach and pie, so I like peach pie, for example, but not just regular peach. No. Okay. All right, let's continue. Hey, Daniela, how about you try number 2 for us? Hello, Daniela. We can't hear you. Okay, she might be having some trouble here. Okay, Anna, you want to try number 2?
The most important food in my diet are beans.
Okay. Anything else? Just beans?
Beans, meat,
So
fruits.
what kind of meat specifically? Is there one kind that you like more than another?
I like chicken and beef.
Chicken and beef, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So those are pretty common foods from your country, right?
Yes,
Those are big
yes.
parts of lots of things. Okay, so beans, chicken, rice too.
And yes, and fruits.
Okay, so I think a lot of people will probably agree with you. Shiho, what about in your diet? What are the most important foods?
Vegetable and oatmeal.
Really? Interesting. Okay, anybody else have any important foods?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Mr. John.
What would you say, Daniela? What about you?
Oat and protein.
Oh, protein.
Uh-huh.
Protein. So well, how do you get the protein? What foods do you have with protein in them?
Like fish, chicken, meal.
Okay. So fish is a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big source. Okay. All right. Sergey, what about your diet?
Yeah,
Same things?
maybe some fish food. Any fish food.
Any fish.
food.
Really? Okay.
Any
We
fish.
yeah, my wife and I have been eating a lot of fish lately.
Buckwheat.
Buckwheat. Really? So you like the healthy stuff?
Yeah, I like. I like buckwheat. Yeah.
That's good for, especially if you like exercising. I understand buckwheat is a good source.
Maybe some vegetables like
Okay.
broccoli, maybe.
No broccoli.
I love
Maybe
broccoli.
tomatoes,
not mention
pepper,
broccoli.
cucumber, zucchini. Yeah.
That sounds pretty good, but please, no broccoli. Please, no broccoli. Okay.
Any juice.
You sound like a healthy guy there, Sergey. All right, let's look at number 3, everybody. So I'll read number 3, and just to highlight 2 words from a couple of weeks ago. So we talked about these 2 words when talking about word families. So we said, for example, in English, we have a lot of unusual words that we still use in the English language, and these are old words that don't really follow a lot of the word family changes like words from Latin. So for example, this word here, weakness and strength, remember these 2 words, weakness and strength, are from Old English. So these are 2 Old English words that we still use today. But I thought we would kind of just take a quick survey. So again, thinking about weaknesses and strengths. So let's start on the left side there. So what would you say your weakness in English is? What do you think is an area that you still need to improve? So guys, what do you think? Anybody can answer this one. What do you think? What are things we need to improve?
For me, my
Pronunciation.
weakness is pronunciation.
Pronunciation, that's a big one. Okay.
Speaking skill.
Speaking, so like conversation, talking.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. That's usually what most students struggle with. Okay. All right, what about strengths? Let's focus on the positive. What are our strengths in English? What are things
My
we do?
strength is listening.
Listening, that's a good one. It's always a good idea to listen first, right? A lot of my students have more strength in grammar than they do in speaking. Like they can write, maybe they can read, but again, the speaking is usually a weakness, or speaking is something to improve, right? Okay. All right, let's look at the last 2 real quickly. So for number 4, okay, so how about, let's see, who hasn't had a chance yet? How about Rena? How about you try number 4?
Okay, I have lived in this area since 2018.
Very good, so we use a year, right? So 2018. Yes. Okay, let's get some other answers real quickly. Who else can tell us for number 4?
I miss you.
Since when? Okay, so Rena said since 2018. Who else?
I have lived in this area since last summer.
Since last summer. Okay, Sergey says since 2015. All right, Daniela, what about you?
Mhm.
I have lived in this area since last year.
Since last year. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Anybody been here since maybe 2012 or 13? No? Okay, so most of us within 2 or 3 years. Okay. All right, here's the last question. Who would, the last sentence, who would like to read it?
Me?
Yeah, okay, Anna. How would you answer this one?
I am 5'9" tall.
Okay, so you would say 5 feet,
Oh, yes. 9.
So 5 feet,
5 feet,
9,
9.
9.
Oh, I don't remember. I don't
Oh,
remember.
okay, I'll give you a hint.
Inches. 9
inches.
inches.
All right,
Yes.
so okay,
Tall.
that's pretty tall. She's 5 feet 9 inches. Okay.
Yes.
Anybody taller? Sergey, do you know how tall you are?
I'm enough tall.
You're tall enough.
Tall enough. Yes. About 6 feet.
I think you and I are about the same height. Yeah,
Mhm.
6 feet. Yeah, that's me. I'm 6 feet. So I don't know. Okay, you're pretty close. That's pretty close.
I'm 5 feet 2 inch
5'2". Yeah, 5 feet 2 inches.
inches.
Okay.
I'm just 5 feet tall.
Okay, so Rena is 5 feet. Anybody shorter? No? I'm
like
sorry,
baby,
Rena.
like baby.
Oh, she's not quite that small. Come on. She's not quite that short. Yeah, so in this case, looks like everybody's about around the 5 foot mark. Now, okay, and then you made an interesting comment. When we use the word tall, we use the actual feet and inches. So 5 feet 9 inches tall. But if you just want to mention your height without the word tall, then you would say I'm 5'2".
Okay.
Yeah, then you would say it like that. So for some reason, when we add the word tall, we actually mention the feet and the inches. But for some
Okay.
reason in English, we just say 5 foot. And notice we say 5 foot too, not 5 feet too, which is still kind of weird. I don't know why. Yeah, so guys, as we said before, obviously here in the United States, we don't use meters, we use feet and inches. So, and of course, we also discussed that the word tall is referring to how high our height, right? How tall our height is. We don't say high, we say tall.
Oh,
Yeah, so if you notice every one of these sentences, we're just reviewing some things that we practiced throughout the session. So if you remember, the first two were referring to that article we read about sugar, about food, diet, desserts. Number 3 was talking about word families, and especially those irregular words we use, like strong, strength, weak, weakness. And then finally, the last, this one here was talking about last week, words like since and the word for. So in this case, we've had a chance to kind of pretty much look at everything we talked about during the summer session. Okay, well, guys, our time is just about up here for this morning. So let's talk a little bit about what our next step is. Now, some of you have already done this, but I want to go ahead and talk to those of you who are going to be here for the fall session. So I sent an email last week, and if you did not receive it or if you can't find it, I'm going to put the link again in an email after we're finished here today, just to you. And the idea is, if you are going to register with us for the fall, you need to fill out the information in that link. So I want to remind everybody that we will be online at least until October. Again, the college just announced their plans like 4 days ago. So as you can see, we were waiting and waiting and waiting, but I think it's still going to be better for us to be online right now, okay? Because the college is still trying to figure out its situation. So what I will do is tell you that we're probably going to keep basically the same schedule, but I am going to give everyone a chance to give us some opinion about classes. So for example, do you want more classes? Is this schedule fine? We'll give you a chance to give us some of your opinion. We will be sending out that information probably a little bit later, but for now, we just need students to register. So if you are going to take classes with us from August to October, we need everybody to register for that session. So again, I know some of you have registered already, so thank you for that. But if you have not registered and you're going to take classes in the fall, please fill out that link. And again, I will send the link to you in an email here soon after the class is finished. So, guys, this is our final chat for the summer. This is the first time we've been in July for a few years. So we wanted to add a few extra weeks to help students during this difficult time. And we want to thank everybody for joining us during this difficult time. So I know it has been very difficult. I don't know that things are going to improve soon. Hopefully they will, but we feel like it's better to stay online just to keep everyone safe. So at this point, we're going to be online for a little bit longer, but we do hope you can join us for classes in August, okay? Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. It was good to see everybody. It's very good to see everybody here, especially on the last day. I want to say to everyone, take care and stay safe.